Hello, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders. My goodness, Chuck, the last 10 days in Washington, D.C. has brought all sorts of amazing things. It was a wild, wild period. What's your take on it?
Well, I think there will literally be books written about this, and I think it will be various themes, but the day democracy nearly died, I think that it was astounding, it was saddening to see what happened. But what was really deeply disappointing was to watch our own Wisconsin delegation. We have a history in this state that we really don't like to look at, the Joe McCarthy time. And I think this will rival that, particularly with regard to Senator Johnson. I cannot believe that even in the days leading up to January 6th, he was still talking about all of these problems and all of the election, and people believe it's fraudulent. And as Chuck Todd pointed out on Meet the Press, Senator, this is all because you continue to tell people that these are questions which need to be looked at, and they don't be. The rest of the Republican delegation did not distinguish themselves. At least at one point, Congressman Gallagher did call on the president to have his people stand to stop what they were doing in the Capitol. I give him some credit for that, although he did not follow through with any votes or any greater activity on his part. And certainly he's looking at him running for election across the state of Wisconsin on a statewide race here, either for governor or for U.S. senator. But Fitzgerald and Tiffany, my gosh, I thought both of those guys knew better. Certainly Scott Fitzgerald, having been a leader, should know better than to put out the statements that they did, which were indicating still at this point that there are legitimate questions about this election. It was awful. And, I look at the difference between this and Al Gore, where it came down to one state and maybe a couple thousand votes. But when the Supreme Court said, that's enough, it's over, he came out and said, this is it. What happened with President Trump, perhaps he's a one-off that we can't stop. But the delegation, our Wisconsin delegation, particularly Senator Johnson, how could they do this? When the books are written, Ron Johnson will be seen as one of the collaborators who almost brought our democracy down, Scott.
Well, I was pleased to see that in the wake of the storming of the Capitol, that there was universal condemnation by the Republicans and Democrats in Wisconsin's delegation and at the national level. But then in the days after that, of course, it fell back into the typical partisanship. The idea of impeaching a president who has just a few days left in office is really just political theater. It didn't accomplish anything. And I don't think it helps President Biden with his efforts to try to promote healing. Continuing going forward to try and convict a president who's no longer in office in the United States Senate, I just don't think that helps President Biden advance his agenda or get his appointees confirmed. I don't see how any of that helps him or frankly helps the country. So I'm hoping that when we get to the inaugural, that we'll see a spirit of bipartisanship, that President Biden's offer for healing will be sincerely accepted by Republicans. We can kind of, rather than trying to go back and argue about the past, maybe we can turn the page and write the next chapter in American history.
Given the divisiveness caused by these questions, more than questions, but these spurious allegations of voter fraud it's amazing that people, I believe, will be able, and I hope and expect that we will. I think that President-elect Biden will give an inauguration speech which will call for unity. I think he's the kind of person who can help us bring some unity in this divided time. And I think that we will move forward more positively as a country. But to see what happened on January 6th, that wasn't just those people. That was still not just by President Trump, but by our own delegation. And I think they will live in infamy, much as Joe McCarthy has. Let's hope that we can move forward as a country. And I think President Biden's inauguration speech will be a good healing moment. And I think Scott is right that hopefully will take us all forward in a positive direction.
All right. We'll see you next week.